Right, good morning, good morning. This is our third quarter joint ADOT DBE task force meeting. My name is Rebecca Morris. I'm the president of the Arizona Builders Exchange. I'll be your MC for today. So while everybody gets logged in, we've got a good crowd today. I'm very excited to see everybody. Welcome, welcome. This is a webinar format on Zoom. So I'm sure everybody's super familiar with Zoom by now. You can use the chat. You can use the chat to introduce yourself if you want to drop your name, title, and firm name. That's always encouraged. Gives us a little bit of virtual networking. So as we get going, I'm going to share our, I call it the legalese, just pursuant to Title 6 of the Civil Rights Act. You can read that up on the screen before we get going. Kind of one of those things we always want to keep in the back of our minds. And then the other little functionality question or kind of feature of Zoom is please do use the Q&A. So as we go through our business, we do have an outline. We do have prepared questions we want to get to. Please do use the Q&A. If you have a question to the panel, if you have a question about anything that's discussed here, the Q&A is a little bit better than the chat, only because it kind of holds that question for us. So if the chat keeps going, people might be chiming in. You might see a lot of other things. I don't want to miss a question. So please do use the Q&A again. This is being recorded. So all of the registered attendees will get the recording. We do have slide decks from our panel. Those are really handy. I know everybody really likes the visuals and the lists and everything else. Those will be distributed after as well. All right. Oh, you guys have chat appears to be disabled. Okay, I might have to go and change a setting in there. So hang with me just a moment or two. Apologies for that. I will get that fixed here in a moment. All right, so we are going to call this meeting to order at 9:03. Going to stop sharing my screen. And then I would like to turn it over to Francesca. So Francesca Martin, DBE Supportive Services Program Manager. I think I messed up your title. I'm sorry, Francesca. Please correct me. Would you turn your camera on and give us an update on the DBE Supportive Services Program?
I sure will. I am trying to get there. 1 second here.
There you are.
You hear and see me?
I do, absolutely.
All right. So thank you, Rebecca. Good morning, everyone. Again, I am Francesca Martin, and I am the Small Business and Workforce Development Officer here at ADOT, Business Engagement and Compliance Officer. Office. Too many officers and offices. All right. So thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join today's DBE Task Force meeting. I'd like to welcome this morning's panelists. We have Susanna, Allison, and Robert, and thanks to our moderator, Daniel. We appreciate you all participating on this valuable discussion topic as we cover project and contracting opportunities at local municipalities. After today's discussion, be sure to register for our post-meeting workshop, which is polishing up on your boilerplate SOQ. The focus will be on the firm history, relevant projects, and the staff resumes. The workshop is Tuesday. It's on September 13th at 9 a.m. and it is virtual. So please register today. Also, if you are a DBE firm and you are looking for an opportunity to pitch your firm and engage and network with prime contractors in person at the AGC ADOT joint meeting, email us today at dbesupportiveservices@azdot.gov. The meeting is Tuesday. It's on September 20th and it is held in person. So we will need to know if you are interested so we can add you to the agenda and ensure you are counted in the meeting invite count. And last but not least, I am pleased to announce we have 2 new additions at our BECO office. We have just hired on David Simmons as our new OJT and Workforce Development Program Manager, and Dr. Janice Hodge is our new DBE Supportive Services Program Manager. They both began on August 15th, so please help me in welcoming David and Janice to our team and to their new positions. Hi, Janice.
Hello, everyone. I wanted to wait. Thank you so much for introducing me. I'm here to support. I'm glad to be a part of the team.
Thank you, Janice. And David is actually attending a conference today, so I'm sure you guys will see him in the near future on our next meeting. And now I'd like to turn over the meeting to BECO's Contract and Compliance and Training Officer, Gabe Demerby. He will share an update on our DBE availability study.
So good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Gabriel Demerby, but I do go by Gabe for some of you who do already know me. And I just wanted to provide you a very quick, brief update on the current ongoing DB availability study. But first, I also wanted to thank everyone that did reach out to me via email and phone call. I did respond to everyone, and I hope I was able to answer everyone's questions. So just to let you know, the telephone surveys have been completed. The results are being compiled, and ADOT will be setting up a meeting with the prime consultant Keene Independent, hopefully within the next week, to discuss the data gathered and the next upcoming steps to complete the DB availability study. That's kind of all I had for now. Again, we are hoping to meet with them. I just got information that we're hoping to meet next week, but I want to open it up real quick to see if there's any questions regarding the availability study.
Gabe, thank you so much. If you have any questions to Gabe in the availability study, please do use the Q&A function. So Gabe, thank you so much. I'd like to ask Cedric. Thank you so much for turning your camera on, Cedric. I do have a bit of feedback with you. I don't know if you have like a phone going at the same time, but we do have some feedback on the audio side with you. Gabe, if you want to step into the background, you're welcome to turn your camera off. And I would like to hear from Cedric Johnson. Could you give us an update from ECS?
There was an echo going on.
Yeah, we're getting some feedback now. Cedric, I'm sorry, I did mute you. I don't know if you can unmute. I don't know what's going on with your audio, but I have you in there twice. Are you on a phone as well as your computer? If so, I always mute and turn the volume off, one of them. I'm sorry, I did mute you, so I cannot hear you right now. Bear with us as we get our audio going here.
Okay.
All right, Cedric, let's try that again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can. Do you want to turn the volume down on one of your devices? So I do
Sure.
still get a little bit of echo. All right, thank you to everybody for your patience as we get this audio figured out. All right, Cedric, take it away.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, we got your second device is picking up the audio off your first one.
okay, audio is down.
Okay. All right, let's try that. That sounded better.
Okay. Good morning to everyone. I'm Cedric Johnson, Contract Compliance Manager for Engineering Consultant Section in ADOT. And I believe I have on with me Karina Lopez, who is our new manager for ECS. And moving forward, she will be presenting this part of it instead of me, because this is something usually done by the ECS manager. I'll start out with current advertisements. We have 3 current advertisements on the street. 2023-001 Warner Road, the Record Road to Power Road project assessment for road widening. We have 2023-003 City of Douglas International Port of Entry. And we have 2023-005 I-10 State Route 202 Santan South Mountain to State Route 387. And those are currently out. And if you go to our website, you will see second advertisements are going to be September 1st, we had one August 16th and August 9th. For upcoming advertisements, we have two, 2023-002, Final Design State Route 303, Lake Pleasant Parkway to I-17, and 2023-006, City of San Luis, Cesar Chavez Boulevard roadway widening. Everything is on the ECS website. Additionally, there's instructions on how to submit and how to get access. Are there any questions?
Cedric, I don't see any in the Q&A. We will send them to you if anybody is furiously typing while you're kind of wrapping up, and we will make sure we get them over to you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Cedric, for coming in and giving us that update from ECS. I will invite you to turn your camera off, kind of step into the background, if you will. And I'm going to invite all of our panelists. Our main topic today for the joint DBE task force meeting is upcoming project and contract opportunities by local municipalities. So I'm going to invite our panel, Dan Spitza, President of Aiken Gardner Construction. Again, Susanna, Allison, Robert, please do turn your cameras on and your mics on. And Dan Spitza, again, President of Aiken Gardner Construction. I will let Dan introduce our panel. Here comes everybody. Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you so much, Robert, Allison, Susanna, for joining us today. And Dan, take it away.
Thanks, Rebecca. On behalf of myself and the panels here, we'd like to welcome everybody, and I'm going to let the team introduce themselves real quickly, and then we'll go into some presentations, some Q&A with each of the panel members. Thank you, folks, for Susanna, Allison, and Robert. Thanks for participating. Starting with Susanna Struble, correct? Is that
correct? That's correct, Dan.
Can you introduce yourself? And
yep, Susanna Struble. I am the CIP manager and assistant town engineer for the town of Gilbert.
Thanks, Susanna. Allison Timpew. Allison, how are you?
Good, how are you? Thank you. Allison Timkew, City Engineer, City of Scottsdale. I'm also the manager of our Capital Project Management Division.
Thank you, Allison. Robert Yabes?
Yabes, yes.
Yabes, okay, thank you, Robert.
My name is Robert Yabes. I'm with Engineering and Transportation. I'm the principal planner in charge of City of Tempe Transportation Planning. I'm actually the transportation planning manager for the city. I'm not an engineer. I apologize for that now.
Thank you. So we're going to dive right into it, and we'll go one at a time, if that's okay with you, Rebecca. We'll do starting with Susanna. I know Rebecca has your slide deck in case you can't pull it up, but I'll hand it off to you, and I'll step into the background here and let you go into a 5-10 minute kind of overview of your capital program, what's coming up.
All right, thank you. And let's hope I can beat technology this morning. So let's see where we're at. No, that does not appear to be the right screen. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, perfect.
Yes.
Okay. So welcome and thank you for allowing me here to share a little bit about what's going on in the town of Gilbert. Just for your information, in our CIP program, we basically cover 8 different categories. We cover streets, traffic control, stormwater, parks and rec, municipal facilities, redevelopment, water and wastewater in our CIP. And it can be found on our website at the website right there that I'm showing. But it's basically under the departments of management and budget is where you'll be able to see our CIP. I will tell you, however, that the fiscal year 23 is not posted yet. We are hoping to have it posted in the next couple of weeks. But generally, that plan as it sits today has about 340 projects in it to the tune of about $3.9 billion overall in the 10-year area. Again, a lot of it is in streets, traffic, We've got a little bit coming on in stormwater, that continues to increase. We've got a lot of work in Parks and Rec, which includes a lot of trails type projects. Municipal facilities, which is more of our building type projects. Redevelopment is down there in the Heritage District and the projects that are going on in the Heritage District. And then of course, water and wastewater. So in the 23 year currently for streets, we have about 39 projects that will be underway, 182 total to about $1 billion. The reason that $1 billion is as high, that's almost double from what we have seen in our past couple years, primarily because we've just added a huge water treatment plant, which is about a $440 million investment. And then we also passed a transportation bond last year to the tune of $515 million, of which $200 million of that is programmed in this year's budget. So that is one of the reasons that is almost double from our previous years. But from streets, we have 40 projects. Traffic control, we have about 15 projects. Stormwater, 6 projects that will be underway this year. Parks and Rec, 25 projects. Municipal facilities, 21 projects. Redevelopment, 11. Water and wastewater would be 39 and 26. From the transportation bond, we had over 57 projects that were proposed projects that will be going into the bond. With that bond, we categorize them in several different categories: safety and congestion type projects, projects that would be reconstruction of roadways. Multimodal is where we would be working on adding some trail systems into the program. Technology is building out our fiber network so it is more efficient and effective for us. And then there are some projects down in the redevelopment district. This is the map that we were showing during the bond type frame. And so in our plan of the 23 projects that are brand new, that are not underway, these 5 projects right here are there right now. And I have confirmed that all 4 of the 5 currently will be out in the near future, looking to hire either a consultant, a designer, as a designer, or a PMCM, as well as hiring vendors to basically do this from a construction perspective. Traffic control projects, we have 3 that will be brand new this year that are not underway yet. 2 of them are not underway yet, one at Ricker and Ocotillo, and the other one is some advanced detection safety improvement work that we're doing for camera work. And I think that is a project that is being done with ADOT and procuring cameras for that through ADOT. From a parks, as you see right here, we have quite a few trail projects that are coming in. Most of them are crossings, so they will be signalized crossings and improvements to the trail within the crossing of each one of those roadways. We do a lot of work by alternative project delivery. So we do have construction management risk. That is our primary function. If we're not using job order contracting, we do some design bid build, but it's minimal. And we do hardly any design build for that perspective. In order to basically do work from a professional services perspective, we do put out on an annual basis what we call a pre-qualified technical registrants list, which we basically will pick off of up to $400,000 worth of work in the professional services. The offering for the annual update this year just ended last week. So I'm hoping all of you were able to get into that and work on it. If not, we can give me a holler and we'll see what we can do to help you through that if you were unaware that was out there. And then otherwise, anything over 400,000 in professional services will go out for our RFQ. So that's kind of our program. And if you wish to talk to anybody in relationship to those different categories, from a transportation perspective, Ryan Blair is the gentleman that you can call. Here's his phone number and email address. Water, wastewater, and stormwater is under Gene Jensen. And then municipal facilities, parks that are non-trails and redevelopment type work, Jack Garak heads up that group for me. And then they have a team of PMs underneath them. So that's about it from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. I'll just come from the dark here in case you have to pull up some of these to answer some of the other some of the questions. I got a couple here. Infusion of federal funds. Question is most notably ARPA and or IIJA type programs. Has the town been able to leverage some of those funds yet? And if so, when is that? And what type of projects are you thinking of utilizing those?
Yes, we are using ARPA funds, or intentionally using or working on ARPA funding for a advocacy center within the town. We are currently working towards hiring a PMCM. Hopefully we're going to be doing that off of the GSA program for the hiring of that, but we will be advertising shortly for an AE to help us with that on that advocacy center. In addition to that, that is about all the big dollars that we're trying to go after. That project is about $24 million project. So
is there anything different or unique about the work on those type of projects or your projects that you're would like to share as far as DBE opportunities and or just local subcontractor opportunities?
From my perspective, we're just new into jumping into this. This is the ruling for ARPA is about 473 pages. So we have a lot of people culling through it and working through it with us. I do believe that there are some DBE requirements in there. And so we'll need to be following that and understanding what that means. So that's one of the reasons we're trying to get our PMCM on board right away to help us kind of outline that and make sure that we're highlighting that appropriately as we go into the AE selection. The project will be a design bid build for construction, and we would expect to basically have that advertised somewhere around October and November of 24. So from a construction perspective, that's where the DBE would happen. And obviously there would be some in the AE as well.
Okay. So you talked about your cycle you're in right now with the AE on-call selection. Is that every 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or is it on never ending and it kind of cycles through these?
Right. So we do an annual update for that. So that gets updated annually, and it is not really a formalized on-call. What it is it allows us to basically go in and pre-qualify you so that we can basically go in and say, if we have a contract that will be under that $400,000 mark, or we expect the fees to be under 400,000, we can basically pick off of that list to say, usually around the 100,000 to 150, it would be a direct select off of that list. Up to the 400,000, there may be some 2 or 3 people that were asking for some additional background information to clarify for projects, and potentially up to an interview process in that off of 2 or 3 firms. So it's not really on call. You don't really have a contract there, but it is there for us to basically work one-on-one with you to negotiate a price. So.
Similarly, on your jock work, is that pretty cyclic as far as how often those get renewed? I know I've seen some of your recent advertisement. It looks like you're back into a resolicitation every 2-3 years.
Yeah, we do jocks every 3 years, and I believe that the traffic signal work and potentially the street work will be up here in the next month or 2.
Okay. So as you dive into this here, I know it's been a while since you tried to access some of the federal money. Are you talk about your DBE certification and management? Is that part of the PMCM or program management scope? You're looking for folks that are going to be able to help with the DBE goals and meet some of those, or how are you managing some of that work and that coordination with ADOT?
A great question. So with ADOT, most of the work that we do with ADOT, we basically allow ADOT to administer the entire design through construction for us. So we are not doing a lot from that perspective. We sign an IGA, we give you money, we basically deal with it, or give ADOT money, and then they basically will deal through the DBE goals through that from an ADOT perspective. On any of the other federal funding, again, we'll be working with our PMCMs generally to help us with that, or hire a consultant that would be specific in compliance on the DBE goals.
Okay. As kind of an annual, what type of federally funded projects that are requiring the DBE type work are you seeing maybe for this past fiscal year and your upcoming fiscal year from a dollar volume standpoint? And is most of it the transportation infrastructure work?
I would say most of it is transportation infrastructure. We do not utilize a lot of federal funding or grant programming on a lot of our projects. I guess we do have some CDBG work that comes out as well. And so we do have a couple roadway projects that are going, or street type projects, sidewalk in our downtown heritage district that's funded by CDBG. So between CDBG and the ADOT work, that would be all that we would have from a federal perspective.
Well, thank you very much, Susanna. We're taking a list of questions, but I'll let Rebecca kind of field some of those when we get done with all three presentations, if time allows, but we appreciate all your information and your participation again. And I think we'll switch to Allison Timke. And Allison, if you want to take control of the monitor and go live with your slide deck, that'd be wonderful.
Okay.
And I'll let you do an overview of your capital program and those projects when you're ready.
Great. Can you see my screen or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay, let's see. Share screen. How about now?
Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Can you still see it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so for as far as the City of Scottsdale's CIP, our 22-23, we have $1.1 billion. The majority of that, as you can see, is water, wastewater, which primarily come from our enterprise funds. We also have a big chunk of approximately $300 million in transportation. That's from dedicated sales tax, county, and federal funding. And then a lot of the other smaller areas, community facilities, drainage, preservation, public safety, service facilities. A lot of these are where our bond funds are going. We do have our bond 2019 program, which has 58 projects with roughly $319 million. And as far as upcoming large transportation projects, we have quite a few that are currently in design. The first one here is the Scottsdale Road from Jomax to Dixoletta Drive. This is a federally funded project. It also has ALCP MAG funding as well. It will be a design bid build, and it will have a DBE requirement. We're looking at, we're currently under design. We're working towards 90%. Construction is anticipated to start next fall. The project includes building a minor arterial cross section, including landscape median, bike lanes, sidewalks, and trails, including a roundabout at Scottsdale and Dynamite. And the project also has quite a bit of drainage work to eliminate the low flow crossings in that area. Another large transportation project that we have coming up is the Pima Road, Happy Valley Road to Jomax. That also is currently in design, and we're looking at the next probably 2 years, probably 2024 for construction of that project. We have another large project, Pima Road, Dynamite Boulevard to Las Piedras. This one is currently under design. We're looking at 2024 for construction. This one is not federally funded. It has local MAG funds. So this one will not have a DBE requirement. This kind of shows what the plan is for the Pima Road, Dynamite Boulevard to Las Piedras section. We're building a major arterial complete street section, again, eliminating the low flow crossings. We have a lot of our roads up in Newer Scottsdale have the current low flow crossings, which obviously for safety and emergency vehicles, when there's a storm, it's hard to cross. So we're looking at eliminating those crossings. This one does include ALCP funding, but it is local funds. We have Carefree Highway from Cave Creek Road to Scottsdale Road that's currently under design. This is widening Carefree Highway from Cave Creek Road to Scottsdale Road into a minor arterial 4-lane complete street, currently under design, targeting construction again for 2024. This one does not have federal funds and will not have a DBE requirement. We have a couple of upcoming federally funded projects that are currently going through the ADOT authorization process right now, and we're targeting to bid these projects, 2 of the projects, in the fall. They both will have DBE goals. The first one is the Indian Bend Wash Underpass at Chaparral Road. That's design and construct an underpass for Indian Bend Wash Path under the Chaparral Road east of Hayden. Another one, 68th Street from Indian School Road to Thomas Road. It's kind of one of our road diet type projects where we currently have 2 lanes in each direction, and we'll be restriping for 1 lane, including bike lanes. Again, also federally funded, will require DBE goals. Another upcoming federally funded project is Thomas Road, 56th to 73rd Street. That one again is sort of that road diet concept where we're reducing eastbound Thomas Road from 3 lanes per direction to 2 travel lanes per direction. And again, that will be going through the RCA with ADOT and for federally obligated projects. And then when you get the slides, you'll have this information, but this provides the link to our CIP. Currently, I think similarly to the town of Gilbert, currently what's up on our website now is our proposed budget for 22-23. And our final budget book is scheduled to be published within the next week or 2 on our website. So actually, I think when I send out these slides, I'll add an additional link to this that will actually take you directly to the budget book once it's authorized. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. So you were able to detail some of your federally funded projects here quite extensively. So I'm curious, how has that affected with some of the new funding that's going to be coming out in the short term, ARPA, IIJ, and other funding sources? How has that affected your planning process, and what do you think that's going to look like in the future, the next 2-3 years, as far as the amount of projects you're going to be able to get on the street?
Well, currently we don't have any ARPA or IIJ funded projects. Primarily our projects are FHWA funds, our transportation projects. And we are a CA agency with ADOT, so we administer our own construction projects. So we go through the design process and go through all the clearance requirements with ADOT, and then we get authorized to utilize the funds for construction, and we do design, bid, build for that. And again, it would be with DBE goals associated with that. But currently, that's our primary funding is FHWA sources.
Okay. Do you have anybody specifically at the city that a DBE firm could contact to talk about some of these specific opportunities, an outreach or a contact to take a look at some of these projects specifically as to what needs are going to be on those projects?
So we don't have a specific DBE contact person. So the way we work is our project manager will have a project management assistant. The project manager assigned to the project is the one that is enforcing the DBE goal that ADOT assigns to us. So really it's working with the project manager and then the project management assistant, who is the one that's going to be monitoring the DBE requirements throughout the construction project.
Okay. With that in recent history and experience, have you seen more challenges or from a participation level with DBEs in areas that you'd like to see more DBE firms, or areas that are unique where you could utilize DBEs from your perspective?
So yeah, I do. I think typically on some of our most recent federally funded projects, our DBE participation has been heavily within, I think, asphalt and concrete. So I think there's obviously a lot more disciplines that there is opportunity for.
Okay, all right. As far as on-call type work, could you talk a little bit, maybe just give a little summary of where you're at with your engineering on-calls and PMCM type on-calls, as well as your JOC program?
Yeah, absolutely. We do have, actually a very robust JOC program. Melanie Gibson in our office, she administers all of our JOC contracts, and we have several. We have water JOCs, wastewater JOCs, transportation JOCs, general civil JOCs, vertical JOCs. We have sport court JOCs, lighting JOCs, electrical JOCs. We have a very robust program. They're typically, so our JOC program typically will be initially a 2-year term with the option to renew for 3 additional 1-year terms. So it's generally a 5-year contract. Similarly, our on-calls for design work is the same. We have several on-call engineers and designers, and it's the same. It's typically 2 years initially with 3 1-year renewal periods. And I think as far as our JOC program, I think we do have a couple that are coming up for renewal. We have our, well, this is our design, our on-call design work. It's our stormwater on-call that's expiring soon. So we're going to be posting that by the end of the year for renewal. And then we have 2 JOCs. It's our signage and our vertical JOC, and they both expire early next year. So those again will be posted by the end of the year for RFQs.
Okay. Quick question to your neighbors to the east, Salt River, Pima, Maricopa Indian community. Do you see any opportunities for joint projects with the tribe and what's coming up with some of the available funding?
Yeah, we do. Actually, Pima Road, the section that fronts the Salt River Pima Indian community, we are doing a large IGA with them to get that portion of Pima Road constructed. So that was in our CIP, but that's actually going to be constructed by SRP Indian community with an IGA with us.
Okay. So just as a general question for subcontractors and City of Scottsdale work, what would you say to an up and coming DBE firm as far as getting involved with your projects and what you look for in a good quality product and or services by specialty subcontractors?
So yeah, for the DBE firms, I would definitely keep an eye on our upcoming federally funded projects. And those are the ones that we typically do design, bid, build. A lot of our other projects we're doing CM at risk. And we as a city don't have a DBE requirement for those projects. So yes, I would keep an eye out on our solicitations for the federally funded projects.
But I think you'd agree that you for any specialty subs, you like to see your CMARs reach out to the local community and solicit those. So your website is pretty good about posting some of those awards to CMARs, so they could reach out to those contractors directly. Would that be a true statement? And
absolutely.
And solicit them?
Yep, absolutely. And again, while we're going through the process, you can get a copy of the plan holders list so you can see which companies are intending to bid.
Great. Thank you, Allison. Very informative. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll get you off the hook for a second till we get to Q&A, and I'll turn it over to Robert here. And Robert, if you want to get up your slide deck and maybe do your presentation of the overview of your capital programs, that'd be wonderful. Thank you.
I hope that works. I never know when these things work or not.
Yep.
Can you see the slide?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Again, I'm Robert Yafes. I work for the Engineering and Transportation Department. I'm a principal planner. I'm not a city engineer or anything of that kind. I'll try my best to answer all the questions that you've given. Come on. There you go. I'm gonna talk about our design projects as well as our construction projects that are upcoming in the next 2 years. Our design projects are a mixture of federally and locally funded ones. The locally funded projects follow the city process, which doesn't require any DBE at this time. We normally award those to the pre-qualified list of consultants selected by city staff. Tempe, as I said, does not have a policy requiring DBE at this time. I suspect that with the city council's interest in equity issues, a DBE policy will be forthcoming in the future. There are design projects that are federally funded. I've listed how much they are. I think the largest one that we have for design is the University and College Underpass at ASU. If you've been to ASU, you know where that is and how busy it is, especially now that the students are back. We have other projects, but there's very few that are federally funded. The ones that are federally funded are normally as procured by ADOT for us because we're not CA certified for design. But there's a list of here, and in the end of my presentation, I will have a list, a website that you can go to and look at the projects that are upcoming as well. The issue for us right now, our list is not just like the other two cities. It's not up yet, but I'm expecting it to be up maybe next month. But you know, the location will be in the same section. The way we do the design consultants, we always look for them via the pre-qualified list. Anything beyond 500,000 and above will be solicited via RFP or RFQ. We are not, like I said, we're not currently CA certified for design, so the consultant procurement, if it's federally funded, is done by ADOT. All ADOT regulations regarding, oh my gosh, sorry. All ADOT regulations regarding DBE will be followed. I have listed a few of our upcoming projects with the estimated cost that will be procured in the next 2 years. The construction ones, we follow whatever ADOT requires for the DBE requirement. If you can look at this, most of these projects are definitely federally funded. So on the construction side, although we are CA certified, we follow all the regulations on procuring projects with the DBE requirements. Oh, I can never, sorry. I lost it completely, sorry. So anyway, I can't get it back the right way. So the website for us is at www.tempe.gov, government, engineering, and transportation. All the projects that are ongoing for us that will be procured is available at this site. We use JOC and design bid build most of the time. We've used CMR for several projects, but mostly lowest bid is the way we procure our projects. Thank you. So it comes back.
Thank you, Robert. Excuse me. So what are you seeing as far as being able to access ARPA, IIJA type funds or any other federal funds as far as your planning processes with basically a city, you don't have room to grow, but you're facing your own problems with infrastructure, not only street and other things, but what are you seeing as far as being able to leverage some of those opportunities with federal grants and so forth?
We are currently trying to secure, we are actually applying right now for IIJA projects for design. There are several projects that we're looking at. I can't tell you yet because we haven't completed them currently, and we don't know whether they will qualify or not. But if they get funded, I'm pretty sure that ADOT will be administering the procurement for the consultants. So there will be a DBE requirement that will follow. We have there are other projects, but I didn't list them. I just listed the ones that are within the transportation group. We actually also have CMAQ, TA projects that are funded. We also have transit projects that get funded. We just completed the streetcar, so some of those did require DBE participation.
So I got a question for you. You look like it sounds like you're wearing a lot of hats. I know there's been some some changes in personnel and there's some positions open. What is that looking like, and how is that going to affect communications with either contractors or subcontractors wanting to get in touch with some folks and learn more about your DBE opportunities and just project opportunities as a whole?
Yeah, so we are in difficulty right now, but yeah, we're managing. There are positions that will be filled soon. They have done some of the interviews already, but we haven't actually hired them yet. Our federal monitoring person has not been hired yet, but it will be hired within next month. I can't tell you the name either because she might refuse, or he or she might refuse the job yet. If there are questions regarding these, they can route them to me. I'll find somebody to answer them if I can't answer them.
That's very helpful. Do you procure services for telecommunications and or public involvement as part of your on-call, or what's your experience with that as far as current needs and future?
Actually, the way we do them, we have a very good public participation group within the city, but we still do procure services in that regards. But what we do is it gets built into any of the projects that we're building. So if we hire a consultant to do these, we would require them to actually, if we need somebody to do public participation, we would require them to add a consultant with that specialization as part of their team.
We had talked about the on-call, and you gave a good detail as to what you have opportunities on the design side. As far as jock type work, you're pretty cyclic as well. I think you just went through kind of a renewal and re-up a process in the last 2 years. Do you see any new opportunities coming up that you're going to utilize jock for?
Yeah, I think it will be available next year. I don't know what the exact date is. I think it's maybe March next year when they re-up them. But it's, we only the on-call only lasts for 2 years, so we frequently do them as often as 2 years. So I think we did them a year ago. So next year will be the re-upping process.
Okay. All right. As far as outreach opportunities, either with ADOT or through AZAGC or other associations, do you do or plan or participate in any outreach subcontractor, specialty contractor type outreach programs?
Yes. So every time, most of the federal projects we do that we're not CA certified for the design part, when we speak with ADOT, when they issue the request, we tell them what we need. And if it's an area where it needs public participation, we actually include that as part of their scope that they're gonna ask people to respond to.
So the question for you, there's a lot of, the development going on and the rework and expansion that's going on within the city is pretty amazing. How much of that is being put on the private developers for some of that offsite improvement, and how much of that is being done by your JOC programs? And are there opportunities there for subcontractors to get engaged with either those private developers or the city, and how would you suggest people do that?
On the private developers, they do their own bids, so I can't help there. But if it's a city project and we do the bids, then you can, it should be available on the engineering website and tell you how to participate if you want to. If you want to get involved in the project itself. I can't remember any of the most recent JOC right now, but we do them pretty regularly. We do them a lot for water. which I didn't mention here on the presentation. I only listed all the transportation projects.
Okay. So with that in mind, who is currently handling your procurement group and would be a good contact for folks to reach out if they had questions on either advertisements or upcoming advertisements, not only your transportation type work, but water, wastewater, municipal facilities and so forth?
All the projects go through engineering, and the best contact will be Greg Kent. Is in charge of the design group. He'll know, everything that goes through the city, any construction work, design or actual construction will be bid through him. So he knows what's happening more than anybody else. His name is Greg Kent, is the head of design for engineering.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna ask that all the panelists, Susanna and Allison, maybe you can turn on your cameras here. I think we'll open it up to a couple of follow-up questions with everybody. And I've got a couple here just kind of jumping on that same question that I just asked Robert. Who is the individual in procurement, Susanna, that people could reach out to if they've got problems getting on the website, trying to find information on projects or so forth? Who is that over at the town?
I would have that them contact Betty Wybera. So we do all of our procurement within our CIP group. So it would be really the CIP group. So you could also check with any of the managers that were on that list as well.
Okay. And Susanna, while I got you, do you do any outreach with any of the associations when it comes to subcontractors and contractors with some of this upcoming work?
We do a stakeholders meeting annually. I think we also go to several of the agencies like APWA, ACC. We do present our municipality during those municipal programs that they do on their annual conferences. So I think that's what your question is.
Yeah. So I was wondering about that.
And you'll see us down at Roads and Streets. We will have a table at Roads and Streets. So.
Oh, great. That's wonderful.
Okay. Yep.
Allison, same question as far as procurement.
So for any of our design, bid, build construction projects, those get procured through our purchasing department, and that contact is John Snow. And then any other construction contracts such as CM at risk or design build, we procure those through our capital project management department, and the contacts are the project manager assigned to that particular project.
Okay. All right. I'll start this question with Susanna, just because I know the town has used improvement districts in the past, and with some of the growth that you're experiencing and some of those things, do you see any of those using that technique or collaborative type solicitations taking place to help with some of the expansion that's going on in the town?
We're not aware of any that are going out and to do that at this point in time.
Right now, it's pretty much private side and then
Yep.
the public side with what's going on right there. Okay.
Correct.
Allison, anything on your end that we should be aware of, or that you could let the group know about maybe some interesting projects that are coming down the pike that you're pretty excited about with the development in the city of Scottsdale?
Yeah, there's quite a few large development projects coming. There are several state land auctions that just occurred, so a lot of new development coming in through the city. We do our water department does do some IIP projects where it's developer has to install the infrastructure, and we have a payback agreement for that. So that's some things that are going on.
Okay. And this is a question for everybody. I'll start with you, Robert. Everyone's got to ask, is there going to be a slowdown? Is it going to level out? Is it going to keep going? Do you see in the foreseeable future things slowing down much, despite a little slowdown in the Dow and the S&P and things like that? What are you seeing?
It doesn't seem to affect anybody. I mean, the construction work around ASU is always moving. We have new applications it seems every day. So it hasn't slowed down. And I think some of these are backlog projects that have already been funded previously, and they're just catching up and moving along to do the construction work at the moment. For us as a city, we have not, on all the projects that we've done so far, we have not moved back any of or stopped any of the projects, especially on the transportation side. We're still moving forward with all the ones that are planned, and we need to speed it up a little bit more actually to meet all the council complaints regarding our projects not getting delivered as fast as we could.
Susanna,
As
or,
humanly possible. I think that's the term they use.
Susanna or Allison, do you have anything to add to kind of what you're seeing as the pace of play as we move into 23 and 24?
I think the pace of play is going to stay, pretty active. We're up about 40 projects active right now from what we were a year ago. We expect that to continue. The big challenge we have right now is keeping up with, early procurement or, the supply chain as well as the cost increases, and then how that's going to affect the overall program as we move forward, because obviously it has to balance against our revenue sources as well. So we do see that, where we replace activity of maybe getting projects done with extra time determining, are we doing the right thing at the right time to get it done, with the best price out there. So I do think the activity will stay. It's just maybe a little switch in our focus on how we proceed with projects.
Yes, I feel the same way. I agree with what Susanna said as well. We haven't seen a slowdown, but again, some of the challenges we are seeing are, supply chain slowdowns, as well as some of our projects are currently underfunded.
So that would be a question I'll tack onto that with Allison. It's interesting because we track how we spend our year as an organization and take a look at that flow of cash, and it's definitely related to the July 1st fiscal year start and the way when our clients, the public clients, solicit the work and when they spend the work. How is that escalations and those price increases being handled by your organization and trying to plan and spend? Is it a pay as you go, and when the money runs out, wait till next fiscal year, or what? How are you guys? I'm just curious how you guys are trying to manage that, because it's quite a juggling act, I would imagine.
Yes, it is. And we'll be looking at that really close. We start our CIP cycle coming up next month, and that's one of the things that we'll be looking at.
Susanna, anything to add on that? Because again, it never used to be where you would start your cycle here in the third quarter the year before, basically 9 months ahead of time, and doing the same kind of thing.
Right. So we start our CIP update almost shortly after July 1 starts, just so you know. So we start meeting with our members to basically, our client departments to say, here's your projects. These are ones that are coming on. These are the ones that basically are programmed for 23 through the next 10 years. And, start looking because come October 25th, we are due updates to our entire program to the budget office. So we're working heavily at that right now. We know last year we increased most of our budgets by about a 25 to 30%. We're now recognizing that probably still wasn't high enough. So we are in the process of trying to figure out how we're going to manage that. It's going to be a lot of discussion this year for sure.
Okay. Robert, anything to add on that whole process that you guys are going through?
Oh, yes, definitely. We start our process in November, our CIP update process in November. I have a project right now called Alameda Drive, and from the original estimate, after we finished 95% design, by the time we bid it, it jumped 52%. So there are issues that we need to deal with, especially with the upcoming projects. And you're right, maybe that will delay some of the projects, but we will, we're striving to cope with the increases as well as the delays that you can get because you don't have enough materials to support the project.
Okay, thank you. Rebecca, do you have any questions that have come across the chat that you'd like to put out there?
No, I think I did just text you one. And I was reading another one, so you may have answered this already. Kind of the biggest things that have come up in the chat and the Q&A is requests for contact information. Hands down, I think everybody is requesting contact information, whether it be for on-calls or for procurement contacts. So I'll follow up to all of our panel, and just a note to all the attendees, we will definitely include that as best we can in our post-event materials. And then I guess just a question that came to my mind is, how are you handling projects when the bid comes in so much higher than you may have estimated or that you may have had in the budget?
For me, I beg the city council to add some more money.
Pretty much the same.
Same way, and the fact that we use a lot of JOC and a lot of CMAR, we spend a lot of time, especially with the CMAR kind of, working through that from 30 all the way up, so that we're kind of giving them a heads up ahead of time of where that's at, working with our finance department as well as our operation groups that are really responsible for that funding to say, you might be needing, if we're going to move forward with this project, you might be needing to push something else out. So it's kind of everybody in this pool together swimming. So.
Yeah, and that's definitely the benefit of the JOC and the CMAR, because you can know early on what you're looking at.
So I on the contact question, Rebecca, I know there was some great information that ADOT's DBE and BECO office went through really quickly. But I know, so I'm going to make a plug. I've been on the board for AGC for almost 12, 13 years. They've got a very progressive, collaborative relationship with ADOT and joint cooperative meetings and so forth. And those are always open to participation. If Rebecca, you could share again after the meeting, share out some of those contact informations. That was one of those reach out, get in front of the contractors type of thing that I think is invaluable, that we want to make sure we get out to all the contractors, and especially DBE and subcontractors on the call.
Yes, absolutely. I do believe Francesca sent out the next joint meeting. I think I saw that go yesterday, but I'll ask Francesca or Aaliyah, anybody that's on the meeting today, if you guys have a link, if you can drop it into the chat. Hey, there it is. Francesca is dropping it over there. And one other note, I have gotten a couple asks or a couple questions whether the chat will be transcribed, and yes, it absolutely will. So if you haven't kept up with the furious pace of little chats that are hitting, there's great contact information. There's great nuggets of projects and opportunities coming up. So we will transcribe that. That will be part of our post-event materials as well. Right, and I would make a call for anybody, if you have any questions to the panel, please do use the Q&A. I think we're kind of nearing the end of our prepared questions. Dan, did you think of anything else?
I didn't have any right now. I just wanted to, before we closed here eventually, I wanted to thank everyone once again. Thanks for making it easy here. I was out of town and didn't have a chance to prep with the three of you. You guys did wonderful, very informative. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
All right, well, I haven't seen any other Q&A come in, so I will also echo the thanks to the panel. Robert, Dan, great job moderating. This was fun. Allison, Susanna, thank you so much for your time and for your openness just to talk about what's coming up and talk to everybody here. Sometimes it feels like kind of overwhelming trying to navigate through procurement websites and CIP documents. We study CIP documents for a living, and sometimes they will put you right to sleep because they're so dry. But thank you so much for making it more accessible information and opportunities, and just how you guys operate. Everybody's a little different. So thank you all so much. I will invite our panel. I don't see any more Q&A coming in. So I will invite our panel, if you'd like to step into the background. You can turn your cameras off, turn your mics off. And we'll kind of close up our meeting a little bit early. So usually we do go until about 10:30, but we've kind of covered it quickly, covered it well. We did what we wanted to do, which is to tell you about upcoming opportunities, contracts and projects, how to do business with the local municipalities as a certified DBE firm. So again, I will transcribe the chat. So there was some great contact information, some great little nuggets of contracts and opportunities over there. We will PDF all of our slide decks. We will distribute those. We'll follow up and ask for contact information. And I believe, Francesca, I will invite you to turn your camera back on if you have any further updates. Any other notes to our attendees? We do have a follow-up workshop, so I'm going to plug that one real quick. The follow-up workshop is 2 weeks from today. Kind of one of the basics of getting work with any municipality is your SOQ, your statement of qualifications. So we've got a couple experts, kind of best practices from a prime design firm and a prime general contractor, really brushing up boilerplate information, the stuff that's asked in every single RFQ I think I've ever seen. Firm history, staff resumes, relevant projects. We're going to really dive deep into that and how people do this, how they kind of manage their SOQs and manage the boilerplate type information that's going to be standard across the board anytime you go to propose on projects for these municipalities. Francesca, did you have anything to add?
Nothing to add, just to stay abreast and to stay in connection and communication with what we have coming up here in DBE Supportive Services. Definitely enroll to receive our communications. I've placed the link in the chat. You will receive newsletters, standalone e-blasts with all of our upcoming events or meetings to continue to network and learn about project opportunities. So that is a great way to stay connected, and we look forward to seeing everyone at the follow-up workshop. Thank you.
All right. Thank you again for everybody's time and participation today. We will hopefully see everybody in 2 weeks at our workshop. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.